Welcome back to our channel US Coins World. Today, we're diving into the world of rare Washington quarter dollar coins. Some of these could be worth a small fortune. If you've got quarters lying around, you won't want to miss this. Let's find out if you're sitting on hidden treasure. So let's continue our today's video on Top 1. Today, we're diving into the story of a humble yet fascinating piece of American history, the United States Washington quarter dollar from the year 1967. Now, this isn't just any old quarter. While it might seem ordinary to the untrained, some of these coins carry secrets that have shocked even experienced collectors. Believe it or not, one of these quarters could be worth a life-changing amount, so don't go anywhere, because you might just have one sitting in your coin jar right now. Let's rewind the clock to 1967, a time of change and unrest in the United States. The Vietnam War was in full swing, the summer of love was blooming on the West Coast, and cultural revolution was in the air. During this era of transformation, the U.S. Mint was undergoing changes of its own in the mid-60s. Due to a nationwide coin shortage and rising silver prices, the Mint decided to stop producing silver quarters. That means by 1967, quarters were no longer made of silver but rather a copper-nickel-clad composition. This makes the 1967 quarter a post-silver era coin, but that doesn't make it any less special. In fact, it's the hidden features in some of these coins that make them worth far more than 25 cents. So, what makes a 1967 Washington quarter worth collecting? First, let's talk about rarity. Unlike other years, no mint marks were used on coins produced in 1967. That's because the Mint was trying to discourage coin hoarding at the time. So whether your quarter came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, there's no way to know just by looking. This gives the 1967 quarter a bit of mystery, but here's where it gets exciting: errors. Yes, that's right, minting errors. Some 1967 quarters were struck with off-center designs, double dies, or planchet errors. These are mistakes made during the coin's creation, and while most would see them as flaws, collectors see them as goldmines. Literally, imagine finding a quarter with a dramatic off-center strike, where the design is visibly shifted. Or a double die error, where the lettering or image appears doubled under close inspection. These kinds of flaws can make a coin extraordinarily rare. The fewer the number of error coins, the higher the value. And because the U.S. Mint didn't produce proof coins in 1967, high-grade uncirculated versions of this quarter are already scarce. Another factor that adds to the value is the condition. Most quarters from that time were heavily circulated. So finding a 1967 Washington quarter in near-perfect, uncirculated condition with sharp details and nowhere is a collector's dream. Combine that with a rare mint error, and you've got something truly special. These error coins are not just valuable, they're unique pieces of art. Each one tells a different story about how it slipped through the quality control process and into the hands of everyday people. And now, decades later, they've become hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. So what does all this mean for you? Well, if you have a 1967 Washington quarter sitting in a box, an old wallet, or passed down from a relative, now is the time to take a closer look. Get a magnifying glass. Inspect every detail. Is it off-center? Are the letters doubled? Is the rim misaligned? You never know what you might find. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for: how much could one of these rare 1967 quarters actually be worth? If you happen to own a 1967 Washington quarter with a rare and significant minting error, in superb uncirculated condition, it could be worth as much as $86,000. Yes, you heard that right. 86,000 United States dollars for a single quarter, and that's the magic of coin collecting. Something that looks like spare change could turn out to be a fortune in your pocket. So next time you go through your old coins, take your time. You might just discover a treasure hidden in plain sight. Top 2. We're diving into the story of a coin that millions of people have handled without realizing its potential, a coin that's hiding in plain sight. We're talking about the United States Washington quarter dollar from the year 1972. While it may look just like every other quarter you've seen, some rare versions of this coin are worth far more than you'd ever expect. Now, don't underestimate the Washington quarter. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, this coin has become a staple of American currency. But by 1972, something interesting was happening with these coins. The U.S. Mint was producing massive quantities, and whenever production is high, the chances of minting errors and unique variations go up. That's where the treasure lies. Let's take a closer look at the 1972 quarter. It's made of a copper-nickel clad composition, since silver was removed from regular circulating coins after 1964. At a glance, it doesn't look like anything special, but don't be fooled. It's what you can't see right away that might make all the difference. Collectors across the country are on the lookout for very specific versions of this coin, coins with errors. That's right, those tiny mistakes that happen during the minting process can make a coin incredibly rare and extremely valuable. And the 1972 quarter has some fascinating ones. Some of the rarest and most valuable 1972 Washington quarters have double die errors. That means during the minting process, the coin was struck more than once with a slightly misaligned die, creating a ghost-like doubling effect on the letters, numbers, or even George Washington's profile. If you ever see a quarter where the word Liberty, the date, or the motto, "In God We Trust," looks like it has a shadow or blur, you might be holding a double die error. Another thing to watch for is off-center strikes, where the entire design is shifted to one side, leaving part of the coin blank. Or clipped planchets, where a chunk of the coin is missing because of a mistake in the blank cutting process. These aren't flaws, they're jackpots for collectors. Even strike-through errors, when something like a piece of cloth or grease gets between the die and the coin during minting, can make a coin completely one of a kind. And guess what? Those unique characteristics are exactly what serious collectors crave. Now let's talk condition. Most 1972 quarters were circulated heavily. You've probably seen them with scratches, dings, and worn-out edges. But finding one in mint state condition, shiny, untouched, and perfectly preserved, is already a win. Combine that with one of the rare mint errors we just talked about, and you've got a coin that jumps from pocket change to serious money. So where might you find one of these hidden treasures? Anywhere. Your spare change jar, an old coin collection passed down from a grandparent, even the next time you get change at a store. These coins are still out there, mixed in with billions of other quarters. But only a few have the magic combination of error, condition, and rarity that make them truly special. And now, for the moment every collector waits for, the value revealed. That if you happen to find a 1972 Washington quarter with a significant mint error, in pristine uncirculated condition, you could be holding something worth as much as $84,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin that started as just 25 cents could now be worth 84,000 United States dollars. It's stories like this that keep the thrill of coin collecting alive. It's a hunt, a mystery, and a chance to uncover history, all in the palm of your hand. So the next time you get change back, don't toss those quarters aside. Take a closer look. That plain old 1972 Washington quarter might just be your ticket to an unbelievable discovery. Top 3. We're diving deep into a modern coin that might just be hiding in your change right now, the 2021 Washington quarter, also known as the Crossing the Delaware quarter. At first glance, it might look like just another quarter, fresh, shiny, and modern. But trust me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. This one carries history, artistry, and for a few lucky people out there, serious value. So sit tight, because what you're about to learn might have you checking every quarter in your wallet by the end of this video. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, honoring the first president of the United States, George Washington. Over the decades, the design has seen many changes, especially in the reverse side. In 1999, the U.S. Mint launched the 50-state quarters program, followed by the America the Beautiful series. But in 2021, they brought something new and bold, a standalone quarter that commemorates one of the most iconic moments in American history, Washington crossing the Delaware. Now, here's what makes the 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarter so special. The front, or obverse, still features the familiar portrait of George Washington, but it's not the version you've been seeing for the past 20 years. It's a throwback to the original 1932 design by John Flanagan. The words, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year 2021 frame the striking image of Washington, but flip it over, and the real magic begins. The reverse shows General George Washington commanding a boat across the icy Delaware River during the Revolutionary War. The detail is stunning, wind blowing through his coat, soldiers rowing with determination, and the waves beneath them hinting at the brutal winter of 1776. This isn't just a coin. It's a miniature monument to American courage and leadership. Now, while the coin itself is already popular among collectors for its historical theme, what really gets people excited are the rare mint errors, the kind of things that happen during production but go unnoticed until a few sharp-eyed collectors discover them in circulation. These errors can turn a regular quarter into a one-of-a-kind treasure. So what kind of errors are we talking about? Let's break them down. First up, die cracks and die chips. These occur when the dies used to strike the coins develop tiny breaks or cracks, causing raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the coin. Some 2021 crossing the Delaware quarters have been found with die chips on Washington's hat, along the edge of the boat, or even near the lettering. These flaws might seem small, but collectors go crazy for them, especially if the chip is large or in a unique location. Next, we've got off-center strikes. That's when the coin is not perfectly aligned during minting, causing the design to appear shifted or even cut off. A heavily off-center 2021 quarter, especially one that still shows the full date or key elements of the image, is a rare and valuable find. Then there's the double die error, one of the most sought-after types. This happens when the die imprints the design onto the coin more than once, slightly misaligned each time. On the 2021 quarter, that could mean doubled letters in United States of America, or a shadow-like effect on Washington's figure. These errors are extremely collectible, and they tend to fetch high prices when authenticated. Another rare and interesting flaw is the strike-through error, when a foreign object, like a piece of cloth or grease, gets between the die and the blank planchet during striking. The result? A distorted or partially missing design. These are rare, and when they happen on a coin like this, they can make it incredibly valuable because of how unique each strike-through is. But it's not just about errors. Condition matters, a lot. Most coins in circulation get scratched, banged up, or worn down quickly. But a 2021 crossing the Delaware quarter in mint state, untouched by circulation, with sharp details and brilliant luster. That alone can bump up the value significantly. Add a rare minting error to that pristine condition, and now you're talking about something truly exceptional. So how rare are these coins? While the standard 2021 quarters are still fairly common, the error varieties, especially the dramatic ones in high grade, are incredibly hard to find. The US Mint doesn't track every error that makes it into circulation, so these rare versions are discovered by regular people, just like you and me, who take the time to look closely at the change in their hands, and that's what makes this story so exciting. You don't need to be a millionaire to collect valuable coins. You don't need a treasure map. All you need is attention to detail, curiosity, and maybe a little bit of luck. Because the next time someone hands you change at the grocery store, you could be holding something truly priceless without even knowing it. So what's the highest value one of these coins could reach? That's the part you've all been waiting for. Now remember, we're not talking about every single 2021 crossing the Delaware quarter. We're talking about the ultra-rare combination, a coin with a dramatic and verified minting error, in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, with all the right markers that collectors and grading companies are looking for, and if you're lucky enough to find one of those exceptional coins, authenticated, graded, and confirmed by the experts, it could be worth as much as $81,000. Yes, you heard that right. 81,000 United States dollars, for a single quarter minted just a few years ago. That's the incredible world of coin collecting. It's a blend of history, mystery, and opportunity, and you never know what might be hiding in your pocket until you take a closer look. Top 4. We're going to explore a coin that most people would overlook, yet some versions of it have shocked collectors and even professional numismatists with their potential value. Get ready to learn about the 1996 Washington quarter dollar from the United States of America. Yes, the 1996 quarter might not seem rare at first glance. It's relatively modern, it's still in circulation, and millions were minted. But some of these quarters have secrets. Hidden flaws. Unique characteristics. Rare features that make them incredibly desirable in the eyes of serious collectors. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to be checking your coin jar a whole lot more closely. Let's start with a little bit of background. The Washington quarter has been part of American currency since 1932. Originally introduced to celebrate George Washington's 200th birthday, this coin has become an iconic part of U.S. coinage. The 1996 edition comes from a transitional era, just a few years before the wildly popular 50-state quarters program began in 1999. Now you might be asking, why would a 1996 quarter be valuable? Great question. And the answer is, errors and condition. While the regular 1996 quarter is worth just 25 cents, there are certain rare versions that are turning heads in the collector world and fetching massive prices at auctions. These are not just coins, they're accidental masterpieces, created by mistakes in the minting process and preserved through sheer luck. Let's talk about the types of errors that make a 1996 quarter extremely rare and expensive. First up, double die errors. This happens when the coin is struck more than once with a misaligned die. You might notice doubling in the inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the date, 1996. These double impressions can give letters a shadow-like appearance, which might seem subtle, but to a collector, it's the kind of feature that makes a coin go from common to extraordinary. Then there's the off-center strike. Imagine a coin where the design has been shifted so that part of it is missing, leaving a crescent of blank metal. Some off-center 1996 quarters are known to be as much as 10 to 20% misaligned, yet still show the full date and Washington's portrait. These are considered prize finds, especially in high grades. Another incredible variety is the clad layer missing error. The standard quarter is made with a copper core and 2 layers of nickel. But sometimes, one of those outer layers fails to bond properly. That results in a coin that appears reddish or copper-colored on one side instead of the typical silvery surface. If you spot one of these in your change, don't spend it, store it. You may also come across a broadstrike error, where the coin is struck without the collar that normally holds it in shape. This causes the coin to expand and spread slightly, making it look wider and flatter. And then there are strike-through errors, where foreign material like grease or cloth interferes with the design, leaving unusual marks or missing features on the coin. These errors happen rarely, and each one is unique. That's what drives up their value. But wait, it's not just about the error. It's also about the condition. The majority of 1996 quarters were used in everyday transactions. That means they were tossed into pockets, jingled in cash registers, and scraped through vending machines. Most are scratched, dulled, and worn. But a small number were never circulated, stored away in mint sets, collector albums, or forgotten drawers. These are called mint state coins, and when you pair mint state quality with a dramatic error, you've got a coin that turns heads in the collector world. And here's where it gets really exciting. Imagine finding a 1996 quarter that's not only uncirculated, but also has a bold double die error. Or a flawless off-center strike. Or a missing clad layer. These coins don't just break the mold, they rewrite the price guide. They're the kinds of finds that leave coin collectors speechless and spark bidding wars at auction houses. Now, let's be real, not every 1996 quarter is going to be worth a fortune. Most are just regular coins with no special features. But the ones that do stand out? The ones with errors, anomalies, and mint condition preservation. Those are the hidden treasures that people dream about discovering, and people have discovered them. There are documented sales and private auctions where 1996 Washington quarters with unique errors have sold for hundreds, thousands, and in exceptional cases, tens of thousands of dollars. But what about the rarest of them all? What if you had the perfect combination, a dramatic, visually stunning mint error, combined with pristine, uncirculated condition and expert third-party grading? Well, here it is. In such a rare case, where all the factors align just right, the 1996 Washington quarter has reached an incredible value in the collector's market. If you find the right coin, an exceptional specimen with verified rarity and grade, it could be worth as much as $79,000. Yes, you heard me correctly. 79,000 United States dollars, for a single quarter. That's the kind of value that could change your entire view of pocket change. So next time you're going through your spare coins, don't rush. Take your time. Look closely. Pull out a magnifying glass, examine the details, check for doubling, off-center features, unusual colors, or anything that just looks different. What looks like a flaw to most might just be your golden ticket. Top 5. We're talking about the 1981 United States Washington quarter dollar. Now, this is a coin millions of Americans have used. It's been dropped into vending machines, handed over at gas stations, and left sitting in drawers for decades. It's a coin so common, it practically blends into the background of everyday life. But here's the truth, hidden among the ordinary 1981 quarters are a select few that are incredibly rare, and worth life-changing amounts of money to collectors. So, stay with me, because by the time we're done, you might be racing to check every 1981 quarter you own. You could be holding on to a fortune, and not even know it. Let's set the stage first. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932, originally struck to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Since then, it's become a permanent part of American coinage. The obverse, or front side, features the iconic left-facing portrait of Washington, designed by John Flanagan. The reverse, at the time in 1981, still showed the classic heraldic eagle, wings spread wide, perched proudly on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches beneath, but in 1981, the U.S. Mint was facing increasing demand for coins. More than 1.1 billion Washington quarters were minted that year across 3 locations: Philadelphia, No Mint Mark, Denver, D Mint Mark, and San Francisco, S Mint Mark, primarily for proof coins. And when that many coins are being produced, errors become more likely. Now, let's talk about why the 1981 Washington quarter has become so fascinating for collectors. It's all about errors and condition. Let's start with the errors. These are the accidental misprints and minting anomalies that slip past the mint's quality control process and end up in the hands of the public. To collectors, these aren't mistakes, they're treasures. And the 1981 quarter has some extremely desirable error types. Point 1 of the most talked about is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck twice with slightly misaligned dies, creating a doubled effect on parts of the design. On a 1981 quarter, you might see this doubling in the word Liberty, the date, 1981, or the phrase, In God We Trust. If you ever see a shadow-like duplication of these letters, especially under magnification, do not spend that quarter, you may be holding something extremely rare. Next up are off-center strikes. These occur when the blank planchet, the metal disc used to make the coin, isn't properly centered during the minting process. The result is a coin where the design is visibly shifted, sometimes dramatically. A 1981 quarter that is 10% to 20% off-center, yet still shows the date and most of Washington's profile, can be a collector's dream. Another major one to watch for: clad layer errors. The 1981 quarter, like all quarters since the mid-1960s, is made of a copper-nickel clad composition. But sometimes, the outer layer doesn't bond correctly, or part of it is missing. This can lead to coins that appear half silver and half copper, or that show a rough, stripped surface. These flaws are rare, and highly valuable. Don't forget about broadstrike errors as well. This happens when the coin is struck without the retaining collar that shapes the edge, causing the coin to flatten out and spread. These types of errors can make a 1981 quarter look unusually wide and smooth around the edges, but here's the thing, even without an error, a perfect condition 1981 quarter is worth paying attention to. That's where mint state grading comes into play. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless, uncirculated specimen. The majority of 1981 quarters in circulation are heavily worn. They've lived hard lives, passed from hand to hand for more than 4 decades. But a 1981 quarter that was pulled straight from a mint roll and preserved with care? That can command serious attention, especially if it's graded MS 66, MS 67, or higher. Now combine one of those high-grade coins with a dramatic error, and you've got something incredibly rare. That's the magic formula that turns a pocket-sized coin into a collector's showpiece. So where might you find one of these rare 1981 quarters? Well, the best part is, you don't need to go treasure hunting in the mountains or scuba diving for shipwrecks. These coins are still out there. They've been sitting in jars, stashed in drawers, lost in old purses, and forgotten in collections. You might get one in your change today. Or it could already be in your house, waiting for someone to recognize what it really is. Collectors are actively searching for these coins, and values have been climbing for the rarest varieties. Auction houses have reported significant bids for certified 1981 quarters with unusual errors or pristine grading, and now, for the moment you've been waiting for. Just how valuable can a 1981 Washington quarter be, if you happen to come across one of these incredibly rare versions, with a significant mint error, graded in superb uncirculated condition by a professional grading service? You could be looking at a coin worth as much as $77,000, yes, you heard me right. 77,000 United States dollars, for a coin that originally cost just 25 cents. That's the incredible world of numismatics, where art, history, and rarity collide. And the best part? Anyone can participate. You don't need to be a millionaire to find a valuable coin. All it takes is curiosity, a sharp eye, and the willingness to look a little closer at the coins you already have. So before you spend that quarter, give it a second glance. Check the date. Look for doubling. Study the edges. Examine the surface. You never know when a tiny detail could lead to a massive discovery. Thanks for joining me today for this deep dive into one of America's surprising modern coins. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories about valuable coins, rare finds, and collector tips, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. And until next time, stay curious, stay patient, and keep hunting. Because the next time you check your change, you just might find a little piece of history, worth $77,000. Happy collecting, everyone.